Welcome to my video on prototyping a braided wire ring. In my previous video on ideating, we discussed the length of the wire. So here I am marking the length, cutting 3 pieces for my braids all to that same length. Next, I'm going to tape all of the 3 pieces together so that they don't move around when I'm clamping them. Here I am taking my clamp and using a scrap piece of wood so that I don't damage the table under my project. Next, I'm going to start the braiding process. I'm taking the outside piece, bringing it into the middle, and alternating sides as I go. Left outside into the middle, right outside into the middle. For further instruction on braiding, please see the braiding handout and the provided braided rope examples. Removing the clamp. Now I'm removing the tape from the ends of the wires. Here I am securing the wires in my vice grips. This will hold on to the wires and keep it stable while I'm hammering. During the process, I am flipping it to ensure that I'm hammering both sides of the ring flat. Removing the braid from the vice grips and clamping the opposite end so that I make sure that I don't miss anywhere. Now that that's flat, I'm going to reclamp it in my vice grips and start hammering the sides. My ring started out a little bit loose, but hammering it is making sure that the braid is now nice and tight. Here you can see it looks drastically different from when I first braided it. I flipped the braided wire around, re-secured it in my vice grips, and now I'm hammering the sides again to make sure that I don't miss anywhere. Here you can see that it's starting to look pretty good. Now I'm going to use my side cutters to cut one of the ends of the braided wire. Referring back to the chart for the circumference of the braided wire ring, I marked the length that I would need and chopped the other end off with my side cutters. Now I'm securing the piece back in my vice grips. I'm going to open up the nozzle for the propane torch and start blasting it with heat. This is the process of annealing. Annealing is heating the metal and letting it cool in order to remove the internal stresses and to toughen it up. Here you can see the copper starting to go cherry red, which is exactly what we want when we're annealing it. During the annealing process, I am heating the entire length of the braided wire and not just focusing on one specific area. This ensures that there will not be spots on the ring that have more stresses and are less tough. Here is what the braided wire looks like after being annealed. You can see that the copper has started to change color. Now I am using the vice grips and a pair of needle nose pliers to start curving the wire in the shape of a ring. Here I am removing the ring from the vice grips and putting it around the ring mandrel that I am borrowing courtesy of my colleague Mr. Smith. I am hammering the ring around the ring mandrel, turning it to ensure that I am hitting all of the ends and hammering it against the ring mandrel. This is what it looks like so far. Pretty good. Now I'm going to test the fit. It's still a little bit too big for my hands, so I'm going to use the side cutters to snip a little bit off the ends and put it back on the ring mandrel and continue the hammering process. After snipping a little bit off the ends, I am pleased with the ring size. I continue hammering the ring against the ring mandrel, turning it as I go to make sure that I am hammering the entire ring. The ring is now round and even, and the ends line up nicely. Now I am using a small flathead screwdriver to apply flux to the two ends that are meeting on the ring. Side note, a paintbrush would work a lot better. Please don't mind my sister wearing my brother's Crocs in the background. Here I have some high quality, high strength silver solder that I'm going to use to solder my ring together. I'm taking my side cutters and snipping off just a couple millimeters because it really does not take much solder to get the job done. I have my ring positioned in the vice grips so that the two ends that meet are facing the ceiling. Now I am putting that very small piece of silver solder and placing it over top of the two ends that are going to join together. I've brought the propane torch back out and I've started blasting the ring with some heat. I have a bucket close by with some water for when I'm ready to quench. I felt that the solder hadn't quite melted, so I brought the torch back for round 2. Now I'm ready for quenching, which is the rapid cooling of a metal increasing its strength.
I brought you something.
You brought me something.
Don't worry. I washed my hands well.
Great.
Open
One
your
second.
mouth wide.
1 second.
You're gonna like this surprise.
Oh, this looks so yucky.
Shredded cheese.
Okay.
As you can see, the soldering didn't turn out quite nice. My dad didn't believe me, so he came down to try and give it a try for himself. The silver solder didn't turn out for him either, so he switched to some leaded solder and gave it another shot. This is how it turned out. Not great. As you can see, the ring is going to require some major cleaning. Here I have my clamped braided wire ring and a set of jeweler's files. Now I'm using one of the jeweler's files with a rounded edge to file the inside of the ring. I'm going all the way around. Then I switched to the flat side and started filing the outside of the ring. I'm now satisfied with the amount of filing that I've done, and I'm rinsing it off in water. Despite using 4 different types of solder and 2 different types of flux for the solder to not hold, the ring is actually looking pretty nice. Now I'm using a dirty old toothbrush, some Lemmy Shine, and some water to clean off the ring. Lemmy Shine is very acidic, and the acidity helps bring out the different colors in the copper wire. The ring isn't 100% clean and will need a little bit more scrubbing in order to get it there. Despite this, it turned out pretty nice. I originally wanted to have a closed ring, but since the solder didn't work out, it'll just have to stay open. This is the final product for my prototyping. Thanks for watching!